The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome, everyone, to another beautiful and wonderful day with me, your humble, lovable, and squeezably soft host. Once more, into the breach do we go, dear friends.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
Well, I thought it was going to take us 2 weeks to get down here, and it took us 2 days. Don't say that I'm ungrateful, but I am starting to take some cash on some of the short positions that we had, and it's going to be pretty good. The first one I'm going to start taking cash on here is Boeing. We bought puts, the 260 puts, in the daily newsletter at $5 or better. I got them. I think I bought some down at $4 too. So they're going to be good. They're printing off about $15. So a quick 200% profit on those. So I'll be tooting my horn for the next couple of minutes, and then I'll forget all about it because Mr. Market will spank me if I ever thought of getting a little bit too big for my britches. But you can always check out the path of least resistance on the front page of the TFNN website.com and check it out. Want to thank those that helped me and prodded me to do a little extra work to take that trade. That was part of, what was it, ITA, which is the ETF that I added from John in Philadelphia. Asked me what it would look like Monday. I had already looked at Boeing pretty hard, and I really like my sector oscillator and what it was saying on it, and the fact that I was looking at lots of stocks and the options were just astronomical. Some were going to have to move $50 for me just to break even, just to break the spread. So a good day, and we'll see what happens. I'm going to be letting them have it a little bit at a time the rest of the day. I'm not going to get too excited out here. Boeing's come down to 347. I've got other positions too, but we'll just be talking about Boeing, I think, today until I conclude the rest of my operations for this pullback. You know what? It's a lot of times I just let these things run. But Boeing's always the one that can run 15 points up in a day. And in options, you know, the worst thing to do is let something sit like that. So hopefully it'll do the rest of its throwing up today before the close. But looking good right now and feeling good, and selling above $15 on those options I bought below 5. So I was an operator. One ringy dingy, two ringy dingy. Okay, so what else do we have? Well, that's, you know, we've got a big move out here. Is it justified? You know, I think we were coming back here anyway. We're a little bit down. 2650 was all I could see on the downside. So the question is, are they going to do the exact same thing that we saw last cycle, which is get everybody all hot and bothered, get everybody all believing that the end is nigh, and turn the market around? Well, we'll see in the next couple of days, but I don't want to be too piggy. There's a lot of sayings around Wall Street, mostly because they are true, like bulls and bears do well, but pigs get slaughtered. Well, you got to, when you get your cash, you got to be able to take it in. But we're off 45 on the S&P. Dow's off 483. Nasdaq's off 133. We'll talk about a few things, but one of the other things that continues to drive me nuts is that everybody was still yelling and screaming about higher prices when many of the leaders were up testing previous highs with very light volume. The other thing is that the futures contracts never, ever got the liquidity that they should have. We're normally, if you were watching Tiger TV or The Den, we're normally on this NANEX thing, somewhere around first world liquidity to world-class liquidity. Since that big blow up and dust up at the 1st of February, we've been pretty much down in these Lord of the Flies Banana Republic level of futures liquidity, and that has not changed. We got almost a third world status last couple of days, and then it started to wane, and I started adding to my short positions. So I don't know what else we can say. I just didn't like the setup. I didn't like all the stocks. In fact, Monday we were talking about the stocks that were on my naughty list because they were testing highs on light volume. But you know what? Just a standard retracement so far, even though it may seem vicious. But we'll keep an eye on it. And like I said, I'll be giving out a little bit of those puts the rest of the day. So you can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, you can always post a message in the Den. So what else do we have going on? Well, let's get a little bit of history, and then we'll start looking at some charts and having some fun. Because there's a day to plant and a day to sow, and it's time to sow. But I don't think they spell that S-E-W, but who knows?
And it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 1976, Steve Wozniak completes the basic design for the circuit board of a easy-to-use personal computer. He shows it to the Homebrew Computer Club, which Steve Jobs attends. Jobs realizes its potential and convinces Wozniak not to give away the schematics, but instead produce a printed circuit board to sell. The two form a company which they name Apple. Wozniak's design becomes the basis of the Apple I computer. The rest, as they say, is history. And, yeah, it's actually holding up fairly good today compared to some of the others. Let's go ahead and just bring up some charts. Do I have enough time? Yeah, we got a minute. We went through history very quickly. So let's take a quick look at Boeing. And a lot of times the standard idea is to try to always be shorting a stock before it's retested a high. Tim Ord tried to beat into me that a high is not a high until it's been tested, or a high volume high is not a high until it's been tested, or a low is not a low until it's been tested. What we did have is a fairly decent and interesting test of the high on half the volume on a monster stock like Boeing. 11.4 million shares into the February 1st high. On the 26th, we had 4.1 million shares, 4.7 million shares the next day. Yesterday, 5.4 million shares. It's tried once again to get me out of the trade, but it did not succeed. I added to my position. I prevailed. We'll be back in a minute.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And a good question about market psychology in the den about 2:30 margin calls coming, and the answer is probably not. And we'll describe why it happens. But market participants get rather, especially brokers, are more than glad to go along for a while. And then eventually everything blows up in their face and they get ultra conservative. When they should have been conservative at the highs, they weren't. And now, after the markets kind of come off, they should probably be more lenient, and they're not. They actually do the opposite of what they should be doing in their business. And so they're, in fact, one of our dinners actually told me about somebody, or actually one of his brokers calling him about one of his positions, which seemed to be fine to me. It seemed a little self-serving, but it is one of those things where, you know what, they just they want to make sure that everybody's out of anything that looks a little bit suspicious, and they'll tell you to get out of it. Whether you should or not is another issue. But the same people that couldn't say anything at the high before we cratered around the 1st of February are the ones that are going to be all over the place right now, trying to make everybody make sure that they don't have any money to spend, and which makes the market kind of go down a little bit more. But margin severely curtailed over the last month. The people that had built up huge positions have been smacked so bad that they probably are not going to go back to the ludicrously high margins that they had before February 1st. So they learned their lesson for a while until it happens all over again after they forget the lessons they learned this time. It don't, you know, on individual stocks it can happen, but on a market basis, generally the entire it took a year and a half for brokers to actually ease anything up after 2008. Even after there was a long and projected bottom in March of 2009. It wasn't until 2011 that we started seeing a great deal of huge margins offered from some of the broker dealers. So I don't think it's going to happen that way. To me, the whole thing of right now is all about the margin, or not margin, but the liquidity in the S&P futures. So we'll see it. I think, am I at most of the stuff? Yeah, it looks like it. I got some fills here. It's 1550 I'm showing. Hopefully those were mine. Okay, so what else do we have going on today? Well, we want to look at a few earnings. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Get them out of the way, and then we'll look at how much damage is actually being done. Best Buy is up $2.29. Volume's pretty good. They're closing 250 of their satellite stores that do nothing but sell mobile phones. Probably a good thing. Market kind of liked it. Is it a huge deal out here? No. But you got to think that these super phones not selling well is not a good deal for Best Buy. Even though they had fairly decent earnings, one of the things that you eventually figure out in retail electronics is that they have quite a lot of range between highs and lows in the market. And I just don't see that much for them to be selling this Christmas. And if Apple sales don't get any better, and Apple actually selling direct to try to capture all the money that they would be giving Best Buy to sell their phones, is problematic too. So I'm actually kind of bearish, even though Best Buy had a nice little pop out here. My guess is that the cycle is over for consumer electronics at Best Buy for a while. I think everybody bought their TVs, and this is probably going to be, you get at least an off year or 2 years unless there's some kind of new product out that drives people in the store. And I don't see that new product, and I see a lot of very inexpensive Samsung TVs that look as good or better as the OLEDs coming out in the next couple of months. So I'd be very wary about thinking that Best Buy has a lot of room higher. I think they have a lot of room lower. One of the other ones higher today is DDD, 3D Systems. And this one did fairly well because its brother, Stratasys, SSYS, had a big whiff miss. And everybody got short on this thing. And earnings were actually fairly decent. Up on 8.4 million shares. I still suspect that this could get some a pullback to $10, and that's kind of where I would look for this thing. I wanted it to get back down to 792. It may not. It sounds, from what I've read from earnings so far on it, I'll look at it again this weekend. But some of these things may be finding some tradable bottoms down at these lows. Okay, what else do we have? See what else we have. Let's take a look at the IBB. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com. Okay, email. I met the Woz in Boston when they came out with the first Apple. Brilliant guy. He was brains behind the first floppy disk drive, too. Remember floppies? He and the Jobs spent the time in the hotel where we were staying rewiring the phone so they could charge all the movies they were watching to someone else's room. Woz was left-handed, as most engineers. They asked Steve Jobs what he was, and he replied, "Am I dexterous?" Huh. So who knows? Thanks for that. Okay, so we're looking at the IBB. Is this an ABC on the downside? Certainly could make that case from the pattern so far. 1-to-1 would take you to 93.66 on, 93.66 on the on a 1-to-1. I just don't see the juice out here. This thing went sideways on no volume. Volume did pick up a little bit, but you're going to need about 8 million shares for this February 9th low. And, you know, as far as a product that doesn't use a lot of metal, probably won't face a lot of price barriers in foreign countries if they've got drugs that work. Probably not a bad place to be hiding. Unfortunately, when the tide goes down, it lowers all boats, and this one's getting that. Question, okay, what do you think about buying Box here at 19 bucks? The first thing I think about Box is that pimply-faced looking CEO guy that they have that looks like he'd be one of the kind of wormy guys that had tried to get somebody to buy him some beer at the grocery store. I mean, if there's somebody that gives me a idea that he's probably not up to the job. Now, he may be the most brilliant man in the world, but we're in a beauty contest, and we're not picking who's the most beautiful. We're picking who everybody else thinks is the most beautiful. And in that kind of game, having somebody as unimpressive as Box's CEO is a giant negative for me. We'll also talk about trying to be in business he's in against a lot of Goliaths. And he doesn't have to kill one. He's got to kill a bunch of them. We'll talk about that when we come back.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
So we were talking about Box out here, and yeah, this thing, the bottom's fallen out of it. And of course, our request from email said that I needed to give it some positive waves.
Don't you knock it off with them negative waves. Why don't you dig how beautiful it is out here? Why don't you say something righteous and hopeful for a change? Always with the negative waves, Moriarty. Always with the negative waves.
Well, I can't give Box enough positive waves out here. I can tell you, though, that some stocks out here that are holding very well today, and this is where you start seeing the wheat getting separated from the chaff, as a biblical reference out here. You know, Qualcomm holding fairly well. You know, everything's down a little bit today. This did kind of reverse a little bit. Apple, as bad as this thing looks, and, you know, it did actually get to a higher high with 39 million shares compared to the 34 million shares. I'm not a big fan of buying it just because the risk reward isn't there. But there are stocks out here that don't look all that bad. But I'm certainly not looking for the weakest among us right now. I'm looking for the ones that have the best relative strength for the most part. And maybe we get an opportunity to see some of these things test their lows. Some of the other stocks on the bad boy list out here, the loser horn is L Brands. Her secret is not a secret any longer. Didn't do well on earnings. L Brands gapped up on the 2nd of November, did so on 9.6 million shares. It's down with 14 million shares today. It's blown through that gap, and I think that tells you everything you need to know about Victoria's Secret and what she's doing. To make sure and give me some emails here. It's a quiet day. Give me a call, 877-927-6648, especially about tech stocks. Let's take a quick look at Intel for John in Orlando. Welcome to the Tiger family, John. The Intel retested its high, but not that much. Lighter volume, 46 million shares to 43 million shares. It did go a nickel above it. It did close below it. So if you're a standard Wyckoff fan like I am, and who isn't, you're square if you don't, is looking good out here. Volume is 23 million shares today. As long as this does not come back in, as I said before on Monday, I'm not a big fan of trying to buy these things right now. There are some stocks that look better. And there's a lot that made me think that these things had pretty much topped out. I use my power law vector indicator, especially in these V-type formations. 17 on the way down, 12 on the way up, told me everything I needed to know. And that was that we were not going to break out of that $50.85 high from January 29th. We did get a retest. And are you pulling back a little? Yeah. But this is one of these stocks that moves almost glacially. So I'm not going to get too excited about it. And, of course, we've got to think about stocks and how they're going to move in higher interest rates and secondarily maybe in some kind of trade war. Since China mostly steals everything that we have that's intellectual property, that's not a big negative. And maybe the trade balance goes down a bit. That's one thing. If you're building cars and you use steel or you're building new buildings, that's kind of a negative, and we're seeing Ford and General Motors and others down today. But Microsoft, another good one here, another good example of a stock that basically tested a high. It was about 20 cents shy of the February 1st high at 96.07. I still suspect that this one is probably going to go to 100. It is pulled back today so far on 22.6 million shares compared to the 26 million share gap up on the 23rd. So that also means that maybe you get back down around this $91 level. And this may take forever to get to 100, but my guess is that it does hit 100 before it goes significantly lower. But, yeah, 91, 92 support on that one. Maybe that is a better play. I like it a little bit better than Intel, just because I think it's going to be sucked up and over the top. What else do we have? Yes, DDD. Didn't we handle that? We need anything else? I think I talked about it. Didn't we? Did you just come in late, or am I having a senior moment? No, we talked about it. You'll have to go back to the archives. So what else do we have out here? Okay, quick look at Facebook. We'll look at all these FANG stocks and see if anything's happening. You know, you got, like I said on Monday, I'm not a big fan of trying to catch some falling knives here, but unless something drastically changed, the volume is not all that horrific on things like Facebook and some of the other ones. We're down on 16.3 million shares compared to 18.5 million shares yesterday. But you're back into this candle that had 40 million shares on February 9th. So if you could get down to that gap, which is about 173 on Facebook, you're probably going to find some level of support there. Let's take a look. Okay, we're kind of coming into this. Give me just a second here. I've got to issue a little sell order here and get a little bit more cash. Okay, thanks. Okay. Is a key reversal action, please? Okay, the dollar index. We're looking at 90.42. Now, it's just coming off a little bit. My guess is this thing's still headed up to $92. You know, I think that they were looking at the testimony today in the last few days is a little bit hawkish and maybe a little bit more dovish today. And the thought that maybe the GDP was coming down a little bit kind of moderated the dollar. But my guess is we're still going to see 92 before we see lower on the dollar index. And, you know, these things are good for the markets. They help get the people with far too much margin out of the market. So we'll look at that. Give me an email at path@tfnn.com or give me a call at 877-927-6648. So we looked at Amazon, looks pretty good. Netflix, NFLX. You know, this was one of the stronger ones. But again, another one that actually is going to close below its January 29th high. That was 286.81 with 17 million shares. This only has 8 million shares, but it's closing back into this trading range. So 286 back to 236, possibly. My guess is this gets back to 270, and that's where it finds support, though, over the next week or so. Unless something else changes, maybe there's another shoe to drop that I don't see. But I think we got the 1-2 punch today of higher interest rates and trade war issues. And generally, if you're in options, a good day to take some cash.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get 'em, folks! Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
The TAS Profile Scanner Plus, developed by John Logan and his team, is a standalone piece of software that can change the way you trade. Let the TAS Profile Scanner work for you by scanning over 5,000 financial instruments such as stocks, ETFs, commodities, futures, and Forex. Right now, you can get a 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner Plus right at TFNN.com. And when you sign up, you gain instant access to John Logan's most recent webinar, How Price, Volume, and Time Make Market Profiles So Unique. This hour-long webinar with John Logan will walk you through the most powerful features of the scanner and how you can use it to become a more successful and profitable trader. You pay absolutely nothing for 30 days while you try out this software risk-free. For more information on the TAS Profile Scanner and to get your 30-day free trial today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And we had a comment in the den about window dressing. And just remember, window dressing only works when there's an inflow of cash. It works the exact same way when there's an outflow of cash. They've got to sell stocks. And when you have a big downtrend like that, as the market heads back up, there are some people that are smart enough to pull the trigger and get some cash back and get a little cash rich. And it wouldn't be surprised me that there were a lot of fund outflows this month when we finally see it. Normally we see the guy from Trim Tabs on, and I just didn't see it or look at it, but I was pretty sure that there were going to be fund outflows already. So nothing really new in that, so we'll just keep an eye on it. Kohl's came out with earnings. The whole idea that these guys were going to be great because they were going to be used as places to pick up your packages, it didn't seem to go that far. Had a nice spike, couldn't hold it on the 27th, rotated back down. Today down on earnings. And, you know, there's a few of these stocks that ran very well. But what can you say? This is, you know, I think that a lot of these things are just bouncing on basically too many shorts in them and will probably still be much lower come summertime. Let's see what else we have in the emails today. Okay, take a look at some other stuff. We looked at Best Buy. Let's go ahead and look at Weight Watchers after its big deal where it rotated over. I mean, there were some pretty horrible looking candles in the market yesterday. You certainly got to think Weight Watchers was one of these. Went up to the previous high, gave it all up and more. Opened a little higher this morning and rotated back down. This is going back into this big candle up on the 7th of February that had 5.7 million shares. You came down with 5.9 million shares yesterday, just 2.4 out here. Support does look like the 62 area. But again, I'm just wondering how far this road goes of having somebody that can't lose weight as your spokesperson. Okay, what else do we have? Got a lot of stocks I wanted to look at in the market here. Vertex Pharmaceuticals. This one had come up and tested the gap a few days ago. This gap down on 3.4 million shares on the 2nd of February. Got into it 2 million shares. Not much destruction out here. Again, I dislike the way that these biotechs came up off of the February 9th low. There wasn't a lot of juice. These things need to come back. They need to consolidate and need to get a little bit more strength before I can get on them. But I think they're going to be one of the big winners by the end of the year, so I've kept a close eye on them. Twillo, this one's very interesting. It's holding its highs even on a horrible day as today is. Almost 10 million shares at 34.45 back on May 2nd of last year. And you had 12.5 million shares on August 8th. It's getting up here without a lot of volume. And the question is whether or not this thing can rotate over. This is one of the few stocks that actually had very strong energy off this February 9th low. This one actually went up 50% in energy up to this $35 high. It may not have a whole lot left, but a nice pullback in Twillo on light energy would be a good sign to pick some things up. SQM, which is chemical mining, the lithium miner in Chile, is breaking through its previous December 7th low of 1.4 million shares with already 3.25 million shares. This is going through it and closing below it. Nothing new on this. We talked about what is it? I'm going to have to put this on a piece of tape on my monitor. Bob Marley, Abel Marley, something like that. Another one that blew through yesterday already with massive volume. And it was kind of interesting because Andy Heck had done an article on Seeking Alpha that I was very interested in on cobalt prices and how much cobalt's going to be necessary for lithium-ion batteries in the near future. And I found someone who ground up an iPhone and went through and figured out how much of each mineral was actually in an element was in an iPhone. And I'm going to write a little bit more about that tomorrow in the Tech Insider. But I thought it was fairly good. But this blew through everything, huge volume, huge shorting, everything you were looking for. Support comes in at about $94. You got to $94.71 today. Let's even look a little bit farther back. And, you know, I was hearing, a lot of times, especially during the daytime at lunch, I'll turn the radio on for local station. They got a lot of gold ads always running. Not always running, let me put it that way. When it's the worst time to buy gold, they run these ads. So I kind of always think that there's a gold high every time I hear them during the local news. There was so many of these ads running about cobalt, and cobalt's the end, and Africa is the center of cobalt, and there's going to be an overthrow of the government, and there's not enough cobalt, and cobalt's going away, and cobalt's a rare mineral, which it's not. If cobalt becomes highly in demand, they will find new places to dig it up, I guarantee you. Cobalt is not some kind of special chemical only found in one place. It is found in high concentrations in a few places, but they will find other places where it is found in high concentrations too. And that is, like lithium, like the rest of these things, everybody is always trying to tell you that, peak oil. Is there a better example than anything else than peak oil? Yeah, they sell it like a cruise ship. So anyway, I heard a lot of that stuff, and I didn't short it, although I had thought about it several times. I just didn't have a clear enough idea. But to give you an idea for all the cobalt stuff you hear, in a iPhone 6 at that time, with the cobalt prices where they were, it was about 25 cents of cobalt in an iPhone 6. I'm figuring that even with the cobalt prices going higher, we're still talking probably less than $1 of cobalt in every iPhone for a $1,000 device. And as a manufacturer, you always want to look for the best thing you can use. Cobalt as an element does some specific stuff, but I'm just going to say that it seemed far too advertised for my liking. Peak marijuana certainly could be. we're talking about GWPH. We'll see how this one's doing today. This is the only legal marijuana company in, well, at least in the United States, and it's actually in Great Britain, but the only company to actually have a license to work with THC. It's down a little bit. Actually doesn't look that bad. Get back into support areas out here. 104 would look rather sweet as gap. Down in here to support. So I set an alarm with that one. Yep. You know, lighter energy on the way back. Looks good. Be back in a minute.
No matter what kind of trader you are, 2018 is a great time to try out a subscription to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report. Whether you just plan on diversifying your portfolio with some exposure to gold and gold mining equities, or you're a gold bull that sees 2018 as the year of commodities, now is a great time to sign up for the Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his Gold Report every Monday morning before the market opens and covers a variety of topics including gold, silver, platinum, copper, the XAU and HUI, the dollar, bonds, South African rand, as well as more than 20 of the most actively traded mining equities. Start your 2018 off with a bang and sign up for the Gold Report today. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. For all the details and to start your subscription right now, visit the front page of TFNN.com and you'll find the Gold Report under Investment Newsletters. David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
You don't buy into that nonsense, do you? You know you can't time the markets. I didn't. And in 2006, I set out on a mission to do just that. I began by surrounding myself with the greats like Tom O'Brien, Larry Pesavento, David White, and Basil Chapman. I read countless books and even looked to the moon and planets for answers. Now, we both know that trading is 80% mental. So I learned the exact tools that Tony Robbins uses to overcome fear. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability. And last March, the folks at Timers Digest began tracking my newsletter signals, which through January 18, 2018, placed me as the #1 gold timer for that exact time frame. Now, I can't officially be recognized until Timers Digest has a full year of signals, but clearly I've learned how to time the markets, and I'd like to teach you how to do that as well. Subscribers to Mastering Probability gain access to my live and archive workshops where I show you the exact same patterns that earned me this #1 ranking. If you're looking for great market calls and an education, sign up for Mastering Probability today at TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Well, I'm sure it will be an exciting evening. Hang on a second. Okay, I got a couple of emails here. Just wanted to check in. After the bell tonight, we've got VMware, Splunk, Ambrilla, Nordstrom's, Gap. It looks like the big guys are out there. Nothing that would really, I think, move the market so much. SMH is going to probably move on the Ambrilla move. VMware, that one's a tough one since it's all about how Dell sells part of the shares. And one more retail stock with Gap, GPS, to let us see what happens. So there's going to be a little action after the bell, but probably nothing to really change much of that. When we take one last look here before the end of the day, or at least the end of the show, 2668 on the S&P cash. When we look at the volume, certainly it's not what you would think. Now, maybe this is wrong, so I'm always keeping an eye on it. Let me see out here. Maybe that is. I want to check it just to make sure. Make sure it's got. Okay. Volume's not that exciting, folks. 2.4 billion shares on the NYSE consolidated tape. That's not enough. 6 billion shares on the CBO consolidated market. I think we did close to 7 when we were topping out on Monday and Tuesday. So, you know, maybe there's a bunch of volume to come in the last last hour of the show, but the volume is kind of it's a little short. We'll find out how this does at the end of the day. But like I said, I'm starting to take cash off. Did so with the options. I'm going to hold on to these equity shorts a little longer. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. And we'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel. See?
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date, active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.